so what I want to do now is just fix some seam issue, or not seam issues, some stretching issues. Basically, the idea here is just that if I look at some of them, let's go like this. You can see there's some massive stretching. So if I look at like the tip of this, see how big that is, and then it's like this here. So you can see that's pretty bad, right? There's a little bit of stretching there, and on his boots there's some stretching going on right here. So we're going to do some things and see if we can try and fix a little bit of that. Might not be able to fix it all, but we can try. Okay, so first off, let's just do his head. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this into a front and side panel, right? Because if you think about it, that's what would be, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and go to edges, and I'm double click on this edge loop. That's going to go up to there. I'm going to click here. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Click here, 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 double click there. And that will go down to there. Okay, good. So basically, I'm just going to make an inner and outer panel. So I'm going to cut that, right? That which cuts it right there. And then we'll just go ahead and again grab this and unfold. See how now it's more like the shape? See how it's able to stretch out a little bit better? Let's move this out of the way. And let's take this inner piece and we'll unfold that, right? And that definitely looks way more like it's supposed to look. So that's way better. So that definitely fixes, I feel like, that issue up there because we did the two side panels. All right. Now, there is some stretching going on here. I could do the same thing. That may work to some extent. Let's go to edges. I could cut an edge up here. So why don't we try that first, and then I'll see if that works. Oops, I also didn't do this guy yet. Let's go ahead and unfold this. Unfold. Oh, I didn't actually cut his underwear lines. Whoops. So I need to cut these underwear lines real quick. So let's go to edge, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut here to here. Is that where I want to put it? It's either this one or the other one. I'm going to make it match with the rest of my legs. I'm just going to go right there. So we'll go ahead and cut that. Just forgot to do that is all. UV shell. Click on this. Unfold. Good. That should be a front. Oh, I also got to cut it on this crotch here. So edge. And we're going to go ahead and put one there. And cut. Okay. Oh, let's do UV shell. And unfold. And unfold. Okay, well, now they can at least be separated. It's just kind of weird to have them connected there. Okay, so that's fine. Yeah, so let's see what we can do here. So I'm going to go to edge. Let's double click on this edge loop. Let's F over here to frame. Because you can see how it's like really jammed in there in comparison. I mean, it's not terrible. But let's see if we cut that, if that will help. So that goes there to there. That works totally. Okay, so we'll go ahead and cut that. And I'm going to hit cut. And let's go to shell. Let's grab this one. I'm just going to move it up a little bit. And let's hit unfold. And that looks a little bit better, I guess. And let's hit unfold on this one. That's also, I think, better. The other option is we could cut a seam in here, which would help it relax. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and go with that. I think that's fine. Now we can do the same thing here as well. Basically, I'm just going to go to the edge. And double click here and here. Oops, cute. So let's go like this. Edge, go here. I'm just gonna hit F to frame so I can see where it is. Okay, so right here is my boots, right? So we have a couple ways of doing this. I could just cut this piece off, this inner piece, which would give this a little bit more room to relax. So let's do that first, just because we were kind of doing that with everything else. So I'm going to select this, and this, and this, and this. Let's double click on that. And we'll go right around the horn here. So we'll basically cut this into a front and back piece. That looks, I would say, acceptable. And we'll cut it. Boom. Use this tool here to pry that off. I guess this one and this one. W. Pull this up, and let's hit unfold. And that should relax a little bit. Now let's click on this thing and hit unfold. And you can see it definitely helped. Like it allowed there to be more space in here, up on the top here. Let's see what this looks like. That might be good enough, actually. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to look and see. Come on. A bit more. And let's see. That is, yeah, that's not bad. That's good enough, I think. What I could also do is just cut an edge right here, which would allow this to split into two pieces. But then you'd end up with a seam on the outside, which obviously you want to try to avoid. So let's turn this off, and let's see what we have here. I think everything is cut okay. All right. So we've got it now cut in a bunch of pieces, but some of it's not scaled correctly. So for instance, if you look at the bottom of this foot, right, that's definitely way too small compared to what it actually is. Although you're not going to see the bottom of the foot, so that's kind of okay. The head also seems too small. So what I'm going to do is this. The other thing we need to do is this, actually. So if you look, you'll notice that there's these squares, right? These big squares that kind of happen over and over again besides the inside grid. This is the UV space. Okay, that's what they call this. And it goes from 0 to 1 and 0 to 1. Now, although you can kind of, and I've already done this, you can kind of toss it off into wherever, this is, everything actually has to fit inside of this one rectangle or square. And the reason for that is that this is actually where the image goes that you're going to be putting on it. Now, if they do go outside of it, it actually is fine too. However, all that's actually happening over here is this image being repeated again and again. So you still want it all to fit in here. I mean, you could space it out, but it won't make any difference. So what I'm going to do is make sure you save, because we're going to do some automated stuff. I'm going to go to cut and seam here, line snap, arrange and layout. What you want to do is do this. So I'm just going to right click, drag up to UV shell, grab everything, and we're going to hit layout. And what that's going to do is it's going to try and shove everything into its pieces. It's going to try and fit them all inside of here. And it actually did a pretty good job. Now, the only issue we might have is that it might be scaled incorrectly. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and drag this guy over. And let's hit this again. And what I want to do now is look to see if any of the squares are like far larger than other ones. So the idea here is that if something has too much space, like let's say I grab this, right? If this is larger than it should be, see how there's really tiny squares? And if it's too small, right, the checkers become too big. You want them all to be basically the same size. It's okay if there's a little variation. It's going to have to be anyway in order for it all to fit. But if you look, actually, to me, these are actually a little bit larger than they should be. See how big that is compared to this? And in fact, actually, the head, you normally want to take up more space. So what I'm going to do is make sure on the UV shell tool, I'm just going to click and drag over the head in general. I'm going to unclick this and unclick that. So I'll have just the head. Can I scale it here? Oh, no, it's actually going to scale it. Okay, we're going to scale it over here. And I'm just going to scale it bigger, like so. Because I want the head, if anything, to be a little bit more dense than everything else. The arms feel a little bit small, like the cubes are a little bit big. Same thing with the hands. They feel a little bit too small. Or a little bit too big. Okay. And then the feet, oddly enough, as much as complaining about them, you can actually make them really small because you're never going to see the bottom of the feet, right? So in order to save space, you can actually make those take up too little space. Okay. Now let's go ahead and try to grab everything again and see if we do layout, if it's going to mess around with the scale. And it sort of did again. Yeah. Let me see. You know what? We'll call it good enough. I don't really care that much. All right. So let's go ahead and turn this off. Let's go over here. Oops, a little bit farther over. Okay. Let's push this back. Okay. So we've now got more or less the character with its UVs here, and that looks more or less hunky-dory. There are some things that we could do here or there to kind of benefit it a little bit, but I'm going to say that that's probably fine. Sometimes when we do these, we actually try to make it make more sense. So you can see they're kind of tossed all over the place. But I'm not too awful concerned. See, I can actually make this a little bit bigger because there's a little bit more space there. So I'm going to scale this up a little bit. Let's put you here. Let's grab, I'm going to turn off symmetry here. Grab just this one. I'm going to rotate it a little bit. See if we can fit it in here. There we go. Good. Let me take this face. I'll pull it up here. I'm going to scale this up a little bit. Just because there's more space. So I'm going to try and use the where there's more space, try to, use it, right? Why not? And let me see, is there anything else in here? Yeah, the rest of it's probably fine. Where's the head? I don't know what the top of the head is. Oh, right there. So I'm going to take this. If I move it up this way, I can scale at least a little bit bigger. Put it over there. Okay, that's fine. All right, we'll call that good. All right, so anyway, we have this all UV'd. Now, like I said, sometimes we want to organize it a little bit better so that it's a little more even or what have you, but I'm not going to concern myself too much with that. So that would be good as far as the UVs are concerned. And now what we can do is we can actually send this out to Mudbox from here. Yeah, all right. So if you get this much done, then you are good to go.